We have finished our t-shirt design. Now it's time to prep our artwork for printing. So let's jump into that. All right, so before we do anything, I want to just hit you with this one little nugget. A good practice is to copy your artwork. And so what I'm gonna do is just gonna highlight it all, and I'm gonna hold Option or the Alt key, and I'm just gonna drag another copy of our artwork off to the side. And we're just gonna set this guy over there. And we just have this here just as a backup in case the client that we're designing for, or maybe even ourselves, ever want to do any adjustments or anything like that to this artwork. We just have this one off to the side, and you know, we could always go in our layers later on and turn that on and off. It's just a good non-destructive practice, so you always have a safe backup of your artwork if you ever need to make any changes or adjustments to it. Well, the very first thing that we want to do is just size up our artwork. You know, we have this beautiful artwork right here, and so we want to get it to size. So let's highlight it all, make it a group real quick, and just bring it up to our kind of top left corner. And let's hold Shift and get it to the size we want to print it on a shirt. So I'm thinking 10 inches wide is good, and it's almost 8 inches down. And I think that that's a good size. And then we can just kind of bring it over here and hit our alignment tool. And there, it's nice and centered, and we like that. And then we can just click on that again and hit ungroup, just to ungroup all that stuff again. We just grouped it so we could center it really easily. Right now, our artwork, it's kind of comprised of a bunch of different groups and a lot of different elements, because we've just been piecing this thing together. But now, what we want to do is start getting our artwork ready to be printed. And so first thing what we want to address is right now, if I pull this local off to the side, you can see that it's not punched out in like in comparison to, let's ungroup this, in comparison to this, how everything's punched out, but the lettering on support local is not punched out. So we want to go ahead and start that process. This is probably something you guys are going to end up doing for a lot of different artwork that gets sent over to you, or even stuff that you create. So we are going to select the support and the local, and we are going to do our little right click thing and ungroup, and then we are going to hit Command 8 to make sure that it is a compound path. And so now this is just considered one shape within Illustrator. So now we can just click on our support local text, and what we're going to do is hit Command C to copy it, and then Command F to paste it in front of itself. So it doesn't look like anything happened, but now we have two of these. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on our color, and we're going to click on that top support local, and we're going to go over to Pathfinder, and we're going to hit minus front. And what that has now done is it's punched out that support local. So the next thing that we want to do is start separating all the colors into different layers. So we can go up to our little magic wand and select that, and that's going to grab all the black items, and we can just hit that as a group right now by doing Command G. Then we'll go over to our layers panel, and let's click this little plus sign to create a new layer. And we'll grab just that group that we just made. It's just right here. And we can just drag this up and drop that on that red layer, just so now it's on a separate layer. We're going to do the same to this tan. It's already a group, and so we can just create a new layer, grab that tan group right there, and drop it on that green layer. And we have our green. This is just a path in its own, and doesn't really need to be grouped. But again, new layer, we're going to grab that, drag it up, and drop it on that one. And then finally our orange, it's also a compound path. So new layer, and click on it, just drag it up, and drop it on that pink one. And cool, we've now separated our artwork into a bunch of different layers. The next thing that we want to go about doing is we want to create a trap around these colored sections so that when you are printing, how it'll kind of work is that, you'll maybe print your orange down, and then your green, and then your tan, and then lastly the black is gonna print over top of all of that. And so we just want to give ourselves a little bit of a trap, a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to printing. So if your registration isn't 100% perfect, you still have just a tiny little room for error. So we can just click on this, and it's a group right now. I like to just ungroup everything and then hit Command 8 and make it a compound path. I just feel it just makes things a little more simple. And that's already a path, and that's already a compound path, so cool. We're all good. We can even do it to this black layer as well. So we can ungroup and Command 8. And cool, now that's just a single path. Just like to keep things simple and clear. So a quick little tip when it comes to working with compound paths. You don't have to be worried that your compound path isn't editable. Right now that we have, our compound path in our black, and, we're moving it around, and it's all one piece, and we can't really, move individual shapes. A really simple way to get rid of a compound path and kind of bring it back to its original state is we'll just select that black. We'll go to our Pathfinder, and you can just hit Unite. And you can see up here, it switches it to a group. And now we can select on it and hit Ungroup, and we can move all of our little elements individually, however we need to, if you need to edit your artwork in any way. All right, so let's click on this tan. And then what we're gonna go over here and go to our stroke, and we can just bump this up. Even to 0.5 is really fine. You could do 0.75 or even a 1 full point, but we'll just do 0.5 for now. That's fine. And as you can see that our stroke is set to black right now, so what we can do is go up to our swatches, and these are all the colors that we've been using throughout this artwork. And so we're gonna click this swatch right here, and now it is just the same color. And just to help visualize this for you, we can even turn off that black layer, and you can see that now that there's an outline applied to this. And so even as you can see, if I hover over that tan layer, you can see that green line. That's going to be where that tan pushes out to, and so the black's going to be covering over that, and that'll look good when it comes to printing. We're just going to duplicate this process on the green and on the orange. So again, go up here, and we're going to apply a stroke to it. And I think we did 0.5 on that last one. And now our stroke's set to tan, which you can see. And so we'll just go up and click on our green color. And now stroke's the same color. Now to the orange. Got our 0.5, switch our color to that orange. Now our artwork is separated into colors, and we've applied our trap. Now, like I was saying earlier, you can just hover over that, and you can see where that color pushes out to. So we have that little wiggle room when it comes to printing. In our black, we just left the same. And this is also something to keep in mind. I did not want to apply that thickening stroke to the black because we have all this little detail, and what would happen is if I applied a stroke to that detail, then the more stroke we have, then we'd begin to lose, let me click off of that, we begin to lose our detail, and we don't want that. And so that's why I applied the stroke to the other colors instead of the black, as well as when it comes to printing, the black is going to cover the other colors really, really well. And you always want your kind of darkest color to be the one that's covering over top of the lighter colors. One more thing we can do real quick is just even label our layers so they're not just random like layer 5. This is our orange layer, so we can just type that out. We can type out our green layer, our tan layer, and our black layer. And that's just, you know, nice to keep things organized. And then what we're going to want to do is create one more layer and add our registration marks. All right, so now we're on our registration layer. We can write reg. How we can go about doing that is we can draw a box. So you can go up there and hit that rectangle tool or the letter M on your keyboard. And what I'm going to do is hold Shift and Option, and I'm just going to draw out a little box like so. And we can flip it over to our stroke, and this is set to 1 point, and that's totally fine. If you want your registration to be really accurate, then we can use really small lines. And so, you know, we have our 1 point box, we can hit our pen tool, and we can draw a line in the center like so at 1 point as well. And let's make sure that's exactly centered by highlighting both of those. We see that it's aligning to our selection, and hit our center, which it was. And then I'm going to Command C, Command F to copy and paste that line, and I'm going to hold Shift as I rotate it, and now we have a nice little registration mark just like that. And that works really well if you're trying to get really tight registration. Maybe if you're new to printing, that extra tight registration might be an issue. And so we can actually swing over and pick up these registration marks that I added in the media folder. We can actually open up this other file that you guys will have access to, and we included a little registration mark in there for you. And there, now we have our own registration mark that's going to be the same every time. And what we're going to do, so we're going to center that one, and then we're going to click and drag another one off to the side and hold Shift. You know, we're doing that whole option copy thing. And we're going to do that again with another one, because I've just found that when we have multiple registration marks to register to, I'm going to group these as well and center them just so everything's centered and nice. It's just easier to get that registration when we have more than just one right there. So we just like to add 3 when it comes to dealing with multiple colored prints. And then we're going to copy those again, so we highlight them, we'll hold down Option, you see those 2 little arrows, and we're dragging it up there and holding Shift, and then we can just let go. And now we have registration marks. Just some perfect looking registration marks that are good to go. And yeah, our artwork is now prepped and ready to get printing. So there you guys go. That is how to prep your artwork and get it ready to be printed. In the next video, we are actually going to go over the process of printing out your artwork.